Mean, median, and mode are three different ways of telling what the center of a number set is. And a number set is trying to tell a story, so to speak. And there are certain times to use each one of the mean, median, and mode. Let's talk about them one at a time. For the mean is an average. So what I do is I add up all the numbers. In this case, I get a 51, and I divide by the number of numbers, and there are 7 of them, and that works out to be approximately 7.3. So I'll write that over here, 7.3. So for the median is simply the middle number. If the numbers are in order from smallest to biggest, then you can tell which one is the middle number. In this case, it's a 7. If the numbers weren't in order, you would have to reorder them. So our median is 7. And then the next one is the mode, and the mode is a number that repeats. In this case, I have a 2, and I also have a 12. There are 2 2s and 3 12s. In order to tell which one to use in certain circumstances, let's calculate the mean, median, and mode for these three number sets. For the first one, I add up all the numbers and I divide by the number of numbers, which is 7. So for the mean, I get 4. And then the next thing I want to do is calculate what the median is. Well, the median is the middle number. Are these numbers in order? They are. And the middle number is a 4, so the median is 4. The next thing I want to do is calculate what the mode is. The mode is simplest. It's a number that repeats. And as you see, we don't have one number that repeats. So for the mode, I'm just going to put a dash. Let's talk about this next number set over here. To get the median, I add up all the numbers and I divide by the number of numbers. The numbers add up to 32. And when I divide by 6, I get about 5.3. So my average, my mean, is 5.3. Now, the median is the middle number. In this case, there are 6 numbers, so there isn't a middle number. So what I do is I take the 2 middle numbers, I add them together and divide by 2. So I'm taking the mean of the 2 middle numbers. When I add them together, I get 11. When I divide by 2, I get 5.5. That's not really much of a difference between the two numbers. And then the next one is a mode. For the mode, the number that repeats is a 5. And then for the next one, we notice that we have 7 numbers, and we have these 5s that all repeat, and then this number is very different from the others. So when I add them up, I get 101, and then I divide by 7, I get approximately 14.4. Next, I want to calculate the median. Well, that's the middle number. They are in order, so the median is 5. And this time you notice that my mean and median are very different from each other. And then the mode is the number that repeats, and we have 5. There's 6 of them, so the number that repeats is a 5. So now, which one is the most important? Which is the one that we use when the numbers give us a different story? Well, when I'm looking at the first number set, I see that the numbers are all evenly spaced. They're all increasing by 1. There's not a very different number in here. So when the numbers aren't very different from each other, what we use is the mean. In the next number set, we have a mode, and we have one number that's very different from the others, this one over here. And because there's one number that's very different from the rest of the set, these are all spaced very close together, but this one is far away. This is what we call an outlier. And when there's an outlier, we don't use the mean because it causes an error. What we use is the median. And then the next one, we have, when we look at the mean, we have this one number over here that is very different from the others. This is definitely an outlier. When there's an outlier, we then go to the median, and the median is the best measure of center. But now, looking back at the number set, if you see that the mode has 3 or more, that's called the dominant mode. And when there's such a strong mode like that, the best measure of center is the mode. Okay, let's try this number set. We're going to find the mean, median, and mode. So now we'll try this number set. What we're going to do is find the mean, median, and mode, and calculate the best measure of center. So in order to do the median, first I add them up. Well, they add up to 66. And then I divide by 6 to get the average or the mean. And it's 11, so the mean is 11. Next thing I want to do is find the median. So I'm looking for the middle number. So there's an even number of numbers, so I look at the two middle numbers. They're both 12. So if I add them up, I get 24 and divide by 2, I get 12. So the median is 12. Not very different here. And then the mode. The mode is the number that repeats. All three of our measures of center here are pretty close to each other, but the mean and the median differ by 1, as does the mode. When there's one number that's very different from the others, we don't use the mean, we use the median. Before we select the median as the best measure of center, first we want to check to see if we have a dominant mode of 3 or more, and the answer is no, so we would use the median. So the best measure of center is the median. So here we have a new number set, and before I even start, I'm not going to be able to calculate the median when I get down to here, and the reason why is because these numbers are not in order. So what I want to do is reorder them first before I even start. As you bring them down, I write the 1, cross it off. The next smallest one is 7. I write the 7 and cross it off. Then the next one's a 9. Cross it off. Then a 12. Cross it off. Then I have a 14. And two 15s. And I cross them both off, make sure that I've used all the numbers, and I have. So now in order to calculate the mean, I add them all up. I get 73, and then what I do is I divide by the number of numbers, and there's 7 of them. And I get approximately 10.4. So my mean is 10.4. And since the numbers are now in order, I can look to see what is the middle number. Well, I have 3 and 3. This is the middle number because there's 7, so it's the fourth number. So the median is 12. And the next one that I'm looking for is what the mode is. Well, the mode is the number that repeats, and I have a 15. Now, when I look at this number set, is there one number that's very different? Well, these are pretty closely spaced, but the 1 is very different from the other, so that's called an outlier. So what I do when I have an outlier, I don't use the mean, I use the median unless there's 3 or more of the mode. I only have 2 of the mode, so this one is median. I write median over here.